What's up, everyone? I think we're live. Welcome back to this live stream. I want to hear your comments in the comment section or the chat. Just comment there or chat there, and I'll be knowing that you're joining me live. And we'll be starting in just like a few minutes. I see we have 4 people now watching. That's perfect. Let me know in the chat. And I want to talk today about something interesting about how I've been able to quit my corporate job, and that's going to be back like a few years ago. Some good and bad memories. We'll talk about that soon. But let me know in the chat. I see Bruce is there. What's up, Bruce? Welcome. Perfect. Let's see. I want to see a few people in the chat first, and we'll be able to start very shortly. But also, it's morning here. It's like 9:30 a.m. Let's have my coffee. So, all right. So, you guys, let me know in the chat where you're watching this from, and if you're watching this live, and if everything's good. I see Antoine, New Jersey. Welcome. Perfect. Let's go with that. So, I want to share with you today a little bit of like history. So back when I've been able to quit my job, my corporate job, and trade for a living. So for guys I don't know, and by the way, if you have any questions, just make sure you comment below in the chat. I'll be answering your questions very shortly after that. So we can do some analysis, some look at the chart or anything of the sort. So so let's go back a few years. So I was studying in supply chain management at university, and this is like basically like a business degree. So like you study there to become a business person apparently, and they teach you about like all these things where you're gonna be able to like work for big companies as management and stuff. And that of course doesn't happen from the start. You have to go through different stages to be able to get there, and that's kind of frustrating. So they teach you for a while that you'll be able to have like these good jobs like marketing manager or supply chain manager, but then you start at the bottom. So what happened is I was in a program where I had like basically 2 internships to do, actually 3, but I did 2. So I had 2 internships to do in companies in Canada. And so usually when you do an internship like this, like the point is that you work for them for a while for the company, then they want to hire you for the long term after if you are like a good employee, which I was not, and we'll talk about that later. But so I went to this first company, and this first company was like a aircraft manufacturer in Canada, and so it was a pretty cool job. I was pretty happy with it. Turned out that after that I was going to Hong Kong to study, so I couldn't like work there for longer. But that was good. That was like my first experience of like working in an office, being like with other people around. And I worked there for like 4 to 6 months or something of a sort. And things went fine until they started to like lay off a bunch of people. And they do this like pretty often. So once like when things don't go well for them for that company, they just lay off like a bunch of people. So a whole floor of the building that I was working on got laid off in like one day without no notice or anything, which is strange. So that's like a company some people dream to work for. It's a pretty good company. Like, they do cool things and stuff. They build like, aircraft and stuff, and that's cool. But you think about the fact that if you want to work for them, you gotta work and be possibly laid off like any day, and that's just impossible. So that's something that for me didn't make sense. How can you like invest your time, invest your energy, and then one day you can be laid off, and then you have to find something else to work on? So that didn't make sense for me. Even though I like to be like doing things I love and I like to work on my own, and I like to kind of take risk. I don't like being stuck to anyone or being glued to anyone that is gonna tell me when I have to work for them and when I don't. That doesn't make sense at all. So that was the first thing, and of course I went to study abroad after that, and I didn't go back to the company, so it didn't go well for that. And then the second internship I had, and this is the one that was like the most promising because they offered me to basically work there full time after I finished the internship. Of course, like the working company was a cosmetic company in Canada, and I worked in their distribution center as a into like supply chain or something. And what happened is basically I went there, and on the first like week or two, the boss there that I had offered me to kind of work there long term. So he said, so this is your internship, of course, but after you're done with that, then you could come to work here like part time or something and do some work, and then you can then we can pay you more and everything. And the salary there was like not good but not bad. It was like I think $18 per hour when I began, which is ridiculously low now when I look at it. But back then it looked like pretty good and pretty decent. So I was happy with that, and I worked there. Basically, on the first day of work, the boss I had told me like, so it doesn't matter what hours you do, like just doesn't matter at all. Just you just have to be there like, or you just have to be here like 40 hours a week, like 8 hours a day or something. And I remember thinking like, well, okay, how come these people don't pay you on result? How come they don't pay you on like what you produce? They pay you in hours. You could be sitting there like all day doing nothing, but you're in the office and they still pay you, and you can do nothing. But if you do a lot of work and if you really progress and like you change the company and stuff, and you're there like for 3 hours a day or 4 hours a day, they're gonna like fire you, and that's just not normal. That doesn't make any sense to me, at least. Maybe it makes sense to you, man. If that's the case, then that's fine. But in my case, that's like ridiculous. Why would you like spend your time, and why would you have a contract where you have to work these number of hours? It doesn't make any sense. So what would happen basically is I wouldn't get much work because I was like new there and stuff. But I used to, like really like do a lot. So they give me some projects and things to work on, and they were like pretty in depth, but not too crazy. So I used to like finish everything like one day, and then I had like I finished the whole thing, and it was pretty good. And tax people they liked the thing that I built, and they were happy with that. But then at the end of the day, I had nothing to do. Right? And the next day I had nothing to do. The guy gave me this project, thought I would like spend like a week or two doing it, and I spent the day doing it. Right? So that doesn't make any sense. And you have to be there like the whole week, and they give you nothing else to do. And even though like you're supposed to find things to work on and stuff, it just doesn't work out. That doesn't make any sense to me, at least. So being paid on your hours, I think it's a stupid way to do things, and it's a stupid way to work too. Because like you could produce a lot more than other people, but you get nothing more than other people. Like best case scenario, you could be getting like a 5% increase of your salary per year, or whatever, and that's not much. That's not much. Where you could be doing the same thing, and I'm not saying that it's just trading. Trading is like one part. We can make that money, but there's other parts too. And if you are doing that, then you're not paid on your hours, and that makes more sense. So if you spend, if you do a lot of work, then you get paid more. And if you do not much work, then you get paid less. Not in terms of like the work you do, the hours you spend, but in terms of like the result and the things you work on. So that was the biggest thing for me. And so I worked there for like again 4, 5, 6 months, and at the end, like after I finished, I remember asking the boss if I could work there more, like more months after that, like part time. Like he proposed me in the beginning of the job, and the reason for me was just like I wanted to make money. I wanted to be able to support my trading, like invest in my account and stuff, and build my trading account because I was trading better at the end of that internship. I was like pretty much almost profitable, and so what happened is he said no for some reason, and I kind of understand it. So it wasn't like the right fit of job for me. I also think that I want to do for forever. And the other thing is that if I were to kind of work there, I would have to like start with like their schedule. And for new employees, usually they have like a night shift thing where you have to work night shift. So what happened from there is I'm glad I got these two internship. I'm really glad I got these two, especially the last one, because it forced me to see that a job wasn't the thing I want to do, and that I could not be fulfilled and happy with that, especially being stuck in traffic and things every day. I couldn't do that. And so if I had not had that, if I had just like studied and then get a job after university and stuff, and you're happy, then I would be like probably like now I would probably be working in a company and be stuck and be pissed off. And so that's just to show that sometimes the experiences you go through, like this job I had that were like really bad and that I didn't like at all, they at least forced me to do something different. And I remember like when I finished, or actually when I would go back to work every single day after this internship, this job, I would be working on my trading. I would be doing something like from 7 to 9 or 7 to 10 p.m. I would be working like intensely to make something different and create something that I could be able to live off from later. And that's the principle. So sometimes you come across these tough times or these like bad experiences or whatever, and they're just part of the process. You cannot like, it's impossible to create something big if you don't feel the pain of not doing that. So I think that that's super important to understand. And so I've been able to, of course, create my trading from then and kind of work on it. And that's, I think, it's pretty much when I hired a coach, or maybe a little bit before that. And I know a lot of people that I was speaking to, like when I worked at the job before, they're still stuck there. And the thing is, they had like hopes, they had like dreams. They wanted to be able to also trade for a living. They want to be able to do like be their own boss and things, and they're still stuck there. Why? Because either one, they didn't take action, or two, they didn't feel the pain enough of being stuck in their job to take action, and that's the biggest thing. So Either you have a job where you hate and then you work on your trading really hard to be able to get result, or you find a reason to work on trading and get result. And so that's, I think, why the motivation, the why you do something, is super important. So how that makes sense is kind of like an overview of my job and things. But you guys in the chat, let me know in the comment below if you have any question on this. And if you want me to share more about like how I've been able to work on trading and stuff and do it and achieve that, I can answer your question, of course. I just didn't want to go there for now, but I'll check your question. And I think we have a few people now right now, which is cool. We have Omar, Kimi, what's up? Toronto, Avish, G Star, Australia, nice, perfect. That's awesome. So you guys come below in the chat. I'll be answering your question for now. And if you have any question about trading or something else, or a job, or maybe leaving your job, which is like a happy moment, or whatever, we can talk about it for sure. And one thing that I was speaking with someone recently, I forget who it was in my academy. I believe his name is Frederick. So Frederick is in my academy, and basically, uh, he was able to quit his job. I think like last week or something, which is awesome. And now he's at a point where like he's wondering what to do with his days, and that's kind of normal. It's something that you have to kind of understand. So when I kind of first began being out of a job, not studying, not doing anything, and just trading, it was like awkward. It was like strange because I didn't have anything to do in my days. I could like trade and stuff, but that took like an hour or two a day, and the rest of the time I was like free to do whatever I wanted. And then I had to find a way to fill my days. So one way I filled this for myself was like traveling. So I took a plane. I went to Shanghai, and I began traveling. So that's how I've been able to kind of fill my time and do something that I love with my time. But once you begin to have your trading as your full, like not your full time thing, but like your like a proper way to make money, a main income or some sort of income, then you gotta find some ways to kind of fill your days and some ways to do things that you like. And you'll see that like if you just think like, oh, I'll just like relax and have fun. Well, number one, all your friends are working, so you cannot really hang out with them. And second thing, it's not fulfilling. After like yeah, like a few weeks, you'll be like still happy, but then after a while, it gets like pretty draining, and you like repeat stuff of partying. If you like me, at least, if you like hardworking and stuff, you cannot do that for some time, for a long time. You're gonna be stuck in like, oh, it's like boring and stuff, and then you have to go back to finding something you like. That's more interesting. So that's what happens. Okay, we have a few questions. So Anmol says, how to overcome overfitting when you are backtesting your training system. Okay, so basically the question is like, how do you avoid? I think they call it curve fitting, whatever, when you backtest, and that means basically that you over optimize your system. So like your system produces like a really nice curve on the graph. It's like really beautiful, and you feel happy about it. But once you get trading it live or trading a demo or whatever, it just crashes and then you get no result and you lose money. And that's because you kind of fitted your strategy to the past data. So it's like exactly perfect for the past data, but that means it won't be perfect for the future data because the future data is different. So if you find something like really simple and really kind of like that you don't optimize at all, it should work the same or fairly similar to the present moment, like now when you trade it live. But if you modify it a lot in the past, then it's going to look like really different in the future because it's fitted for the past, not the future. And so what you want to do is you want to keep it really simple. And every single like principle you apply to your strategy, every single rule has to be backed by logic. It has to be like logical. It has to be like a market principle. And that's kind of what I do when I talk about this before. Is we have an acronym that I use a lot for. I'm just gonna try to show you guys. I have this acronym that I use a lot for a strong trading strategy, and that's pretty much the same principle. Okay, so here we go. Let's try and make this a little bit bigger. Okay. So basically, I have this principle called the strong trading strategy, and basically we use a little bit of the word strong. So, Jesus, that's not good. So STRO, and So we use this letter to like create a strong trading strategy. And basically, what this works is S stands for specific, so you want to have like specific rules for your strategy. T stands for tested, so you did that by testing your strategy. That's very simple. R stands for replicable, meaning you can replicate it in the market anytime, and that means it's easier for you to do it. Like you can execute it, and also the results are replicable. Like you can like replicate them in the market anytime, and you'll get fairly much the same result. O stands for organized, so you're gonna listen like a series of steps, and then N stands for um, non-complicated, actually, non-complicated, and then so like simple rules like we talk about. And then G stands for grounded, which means it has to be like grounded means like it has to be linked to the market. There has to be some market principle in the strategy, and if there's not, then you're not gonna trade it well. You're gonna have some like curve fitting or stuff. So you want to make sure that what you trade is based on like strong market principle. Like for example, like a breakout. So you know when there's a breakout, it tends to go upward. When there's a when there's a like trend, you can trade with the trend, things of the sort. And then what goes below that? So like if it's a trend, you can trade with moving averages. Or if it's a breakout, like don't try to look for like the I don't know, like if Fibonacci on the breakout and things and the pullback or whatever that is. If it doesn't make any sense to you, it shouldn't make any sense in the market. So you want to like avoid that. Otherwise, you're gonna have like problems with your strategy being overfitted. So a few simple things, and then every rule you add to your strategy, like every time you backtest with a new rule when you have your system, make sure that it adds value. And if it doesn't, just remove it. Don't like the thing that people do most of the time is that they want to like improve the strategy. For example, like it's a losing one, they want to make it profitable, so they add like 5 more things. Then they backtest, and then they have like a good result. But which one of these like 5 things is not necessary? Like maybe there's some that you can take off that don't produce any result in the market. And if you keep it more simple, it's more likely to work out. But if you add more things at the same time, it's more likely not to not work out. It's more likely to be losing and to be fitted to the past data and the future one. So I hope that answers your question, but that's an overview of like how you do things to not over optimize your strategy, basically. Okay, let me see the questions here. Actually, I'm gonna move this there. I saw somewhere which broker you prefer for trading or trading forex in Canada. It depends. First, it depends which province you're from because they have different rules. People in like people in Ontario cannot open accounts with brokers in Australia, for example. So that's one thing. And then people in Quebec can open an account with people in with brokers in Australia. So there's something you have to think about there. Uh, I prefer so I basically have 3 brokers, and that's the same thing. And basically they have different purposes. I use AxeTrader, which is my main one now for my algos, and then I use Oanda. Oanda is the one that I use for TradingView. If I want to trade on TradingView manually, I use Oanda. I have an account there. And the other one that I use is Pepperstone. So Pepperstone is more like a backup for now, in case something goes wrong with AxeTrader. But I still use it for like different strategies I have. So what I'm thinking to do is I'm probably gonna trade trends with algos on Pepperstone, and I'm gonna trade reversals with algos on AxeTrader, and then I trade manually on Oanda with TradingView basically. So I have three brokers. It's a good thing to have a few brokers because like if one has something wrong, or if you don't agree with their principles, then you want to have a way out. You want to have another place to put your money right now, not like wait like a few months and then open a new account. So that's what's better. And then if you can create a relationship with some brokers, some have different like things better than others. So you can ask things at Pepperstone that you cannot ask at XTrader, and that's where you want to kind of be able to work with your broker too. And by the way, thank you Alejandro for the link. I appreciate it. Awesome. Link to XTrader. I think we have a partnership with them where they give you access to a bunch of different tools, as well as a course and a um, basically stack equations, the platform they have to kind of track your trades and track your result. So if you want to use that link, then that's super appreciated, of course. And oh, you also get a trading credit actually. If you're not from Australia and you use that link that we put in the chat, that Alejandro put in the chat, you'll be getting a 30% trading credit. So if you put in like $1,000 in your account, they give you $300,000, $300 additional in your account. That's pretty good. If you want to use that thing, then that's awesome. If not, that's fine too. No problem. Okay. Omar says, I have good analysis to the Forex, but I didn't figure out a trading process. Do you have advice on how to build a good process? Yes, of course. I do. Let's go back on the widescreen actually. That's better. Okay, so we'll try to erase this one. It's been a while, yeah, I didn't use that, so it's kind of strange. Let's go with that. Okay, so how do you build a good strategy? And that's gonna work for like pretty much any market, anything you trade, any kind of, yeah, anything. So the way this works is it works like a thing like this. So basically, you start with like bigger, broader, and then over time you move to like more precise, and eventually here, that's where you have your trade. Okay. Gee. Okay, that's where you have your trade basically, and it's an ugly trade, but it's still a trade. So the way this works is then you start here, and then you look at basically different things along the way. So let's say we have like around 5 parts. Okay, we'll start just here. First thing you want to look at in the market, and that applies to like any strategy, by the way. First thing you want to look at is the context or like the overall picture of the market. So the big picture view of things, and this could be like different things. But for me, it's like basically I look at the market phase, how the market's behaving, is it trending sideways, and what's the strength of that? Guess that's here. Market phase is the first thing that I look at, and then the second thing that I look at. So basically, that's gonna tell me like how the market's behaving, and you could include here like different things like sideways trending, volatility. What's the level of like volatility? What's the level of the trend? What's the level of the sideways market? Is it too tight? To whatever. So you can do that here. That's the first part. The second part is you want to look at zones where you can place your trades. These are like zones in the market where it's like a good place to take a trade. So for example, support resistance areas. So you're in a range, you have a resistance, a support. Good place to look for trades, right? These two zones. So of course you want price to be at these zones to take a trade, but you have to decide before which one you want to trade. So here we look at zones. And then so right there, like you've like narrowed down your process. You went from like, oh, it's a sideways market to, oh, should take a trade at this zone, 1.08 on euro USD, for example. And so that's the second part. The third part is you want to look at price action. So what is price action doing? And that could be a lot of different things. That could be like chart patterns, like head and shoulders, which I don't use, but that could be that. That could be candlestick patterns, like all the engulfings, which I use a lot, or different things. That could be maybe even not Fibonacci, because Fibonacci is more like an indicator, but that could be like yeah, like all the patterns you see on the internet, which some work, some don't. But just think about any pattern you want to use, and that's what you use here. Price action, or you could just look at like how price behaves. Is it like is it going up fast? Is it going up slowly? How does it behave? What are the candlesticks like? And you can use that. Okay, so again, we narrowed down the process. We went to, oh, like this is the phase here, how the market behaves. It's sideways, and oh, we need to trade this support or this resistance, and then oh, we have a engulfing candle there, or we have like this consolidation of small candlestick there at the zone. So that's good. The third one, actually the fourth one, is, yeah, just makes this straight. Okay, the fourth one is we look at indicators. And these indicators are not necessary, but I like them because they're really objective and you don't have to think about it twice. It's like you could either look at the price and try to understand price action, and then you say like, for example, yesterday I was speaking to one of my students, and his principle was he wanted to trade breakouts. So I asked him, "What's a good breakout? How do you create a good breakout?" And then he says like, "Oh well, there's some things you can look at for like the price before the breakout, how price behaves." Then I asked him, so how do you quantify that? What's your rule? And then he said, I don't know. There's no rule. It's hard to fix a rule. So the issue with price action is that your rules are really hard to fix and to put clear in your mind or on paper, and that's an issue because issue in the market you can like think, oh, maybe it's right, maybe it's not right, I'm not sure. You have to be straight. You have to be like clear about it, and if you're not, then you'll miss a trade or you take a wrong trade. So that's why I like indicators, and not a lot of them, just a few of them, because they give you a clear number. Oh, it's 86, or oh, it's 24, or whatever, and that's a clear number. So you can know, well, if it's above 26, I can take a trade. If it's like below 80, I cannot take a trade, or whatever that is. So that's why indicators are good. That's why they give you a good number, and sometimes it's simpler to use one, even though it's not perfect. Of course, it's never perfect, but at least you can use one, and your result will be better because you have a rule, and then you can stick to that rule easily. That's why I like indicators. So indicators. So like for example, you look at um, in this case, so when the RSI is above 70, I'll sell. Okay, just an example. I personally don't look at the RSI there. I look at the Bollinger Band. So when it's breaking the Bollinger Band and coming back inside the Bollinger Band, I know it's a good setup for me. Okay, but that's whatever you want. Okay, you choose whatever indicator you want. That could even be Fibonacci. So a lot of people use Fibonacci. I don't, but that could be Fibonacci. Or that could be anything, the ADX, whatever. Okay, so that's indicators. And now we have a pretty good strategy from now. This is pretty good. Okay. So we have like a context. So we say, well, the market is sideways. We have a zone. It's a support or resistance, and then we have price action. Oh, there's an engulfing candle there, and it's breaking the Bollinger Band and coming back inside. So that's perfect. That's a really good trade. And now we have to test this out. Does it work well or not? And if it does, then we just trade that. That's perfect in itself. Right? That's really good. If it doesn't, we add this last part here, which is like the longest part to add, the biggest part to create. It's called confluence factors. So you need to ask yourself, what else here could increase confluence in my trade? Okay, and then that this like a lot of things. That's why it's like the biggest part. 'Cause there's a lot here. There could be like which days of the week you trade. Right, some days are not profitable, but this you'll find maybe you probably find out later, or which hours are the best to trade in the market if you day trade. Maybe it's like from 8 to 12, 8 to 12 in the morning your time, or maybe it's at night. It depends, right? It depends on everyone. Or maybe confluence factor can be like, so when I have the setup, I enter it below the low or above the high to add confluence. Like if price is not gonna break the high, I don't enter the trade. That's good, right? That's pretty good. That adds confluence to your trade. But maybe you don't need them. Maybe like just the first way here is good, and that's why you want to test this first, okay? And make sure that you know if it works or not. And if that parts here work, then you're pretty much good. You don't have to think about anything else. But if it doesn't work, which it most likely won't, then you need to look at what you can do to add confluence. And these things are really, really small things. They just take a lot of time to figure out and to add and to test. Okay, so you add these things over time. Like, oh, I try not trading on Fridays. How's the result? Is it better or not? Then, if it's better, maybe you keep it. Then you say, well, let's try entering below the low, or let's try entering on a pullback. So after the move happens, I'll enter on the pullback of that's good too. Or maybe you say, here I have this reversal, and I'll only enter if price is below the previous resistance, for example. So if we didn't go beyond that resistance, perhaps that could be something to look at, and that's another way to trade. So these are like plenty of things. You just have to think about them yourself. Maybe you talk to your coach, talk to other traders, and you'll find ideas to add there for sure. So I think that's something that really helps is you get a coach or mentor, and we have our academy link below if you want to check it out and apply. And then you get better ideas for that. Okay, we can help you like a lot on that topic. So hope that makes sense. I'm just gonna go back to the chat and see if you guys have any question on that. Okay, cool. Seems like it's good. Let me go back. Thank you, Antoine, for the super chat or whatever. I'll go back to your question here. Okay, I didn't see that before. I feel like you probably answered this in another video, but how did it take it? How did it take you from the time you hired a coach to actually becoming profitable? How long to quit your job? Okay, so I hired a coach in 2015. After 2015, and I worked with that coach for about 6 months, like on and off. Sometimes I was like working more on my trading, sometimes I was like more with the coach, so it kind of varies. But I was with the coach for about 6 months, and I'm trying to remember a little bit. So I worked a lot there to kind of solidify my training and stuff. And about a year after that, I was profitable. So like 4 months or 6 months after after finishing with the coach, I became profitable. And my first 6 months, my past 6 months were good. Okay, but keep in mind, I knew how to trade there. I just didn't know how to make it work and profitable. That's the only thing I was lacking. So the coach helped me figure this out. And after that, so I had this 6 month profitable, and then that's 2015. So 2017, on January 1st is when I began traveling and trading full time. So it took me 2 years to get full time, but I was still profitable. So what happened between that is basically I started trading for an investor. So I traded his money, got some more capital with that, and I was able to add to my capital myself with trading for that investor. And then what happens too is I work at a few jobs. Well, actually one job, the internship, where I was able to also increase my capital, and I didn't really have the choice. I didn't have like enough money to trade full time for sure, so I had to go through that. Then I had this second internship where I actually work on my trading business. So I improved my trading, and they allow me for some reason. I try to convince them that my third internship in university, I could do it on my trading business. I could work on my trading, could like work on that, and then I had to kind of submit a plan for this and everything. But for 6 months, for 4 to 5 months actually, I worked on my trading business. That meant like reaching out to people. I could do interviews there too because I was having a podcast there. I could do interviews. That was part of it. I could work on my systems. I could improve my trading. I could trade different sessions, and then in the end I had to write a report on that. Okay, so kind of like the ideal thing because I was working on something I loved, and that was not a company like working for someone else. But that's pretty much what happened. So I worked on that for 4 or 5 months, and then I had the last semester of university. Then I was able to just finish university and go travel and quit my job and not work anymore for someone else. So it took about like 2 years if you look at it from getting coach to being full time, but it took only like 6 months or like depending how you see it, like a year to 6 months to become profitable. Hope that makes sense. And I can expand on that if you want, no problem. Just let me know, of course. You answer that. What are the top core concepts all traders should learn when starting out? I like that. There's a lot to do about the mindset. So I wrote an article with that in the past saying that if you are new to trading, you should learn the mindset first, and then later on the strategies and the techniques. And I agree with that. So because I wrote it, of course, but that's the principle. So one thing that I've seen is that people who have the right mindset when they come into trading, they tend to succeed a lot faster than people who don't because they don't make mistakes. So the thing you need to understand there, I'll give you a few points. The first one is having a probability mindset, like thinking in terms of probabilities. So, oh, like my strategy wins 40% of the time, 50% of the time, so I'm more likely to lose. And if it loses, it's fine, it's just part of it. That's super important because people try to like fit that and they try to win all the trades, and that doesn't happen. That never happens. And or they enter a trade that's big, they want to win that one, but that doesn't happen either. So if you understand probabilities well, you won't ever have an issue with like trying to fix your trades. That's not gonna happen. I guess it's just a number that is gonna happen over time. Once you have this probability thing, then you just like go with it, and that's it. You look at the results overall. The other one that's super important, the mindset one, is seeing yourself as the boss and the owner of your business. So, for example, A lot of people that trade, they're like in the day to day. They're like the store employees. They work there, they take the trades, then they look at the result and they're pissed off if they have no sales, or they're pissed off if no sales meaning no good trades, or they're pissed off if they have too many losses, too many refunds, and that's not good. That's really not good. So you want to be able to like be the boss, and the boss is not like in the day to day ever. They're more like taking a step back and looking at the overall result, and then they take action on this. Okay, they're more like logical, more calm, more reflected, and that's really good. That's really awesome. That's what you should do. I think as a trader all the time. You should be able to take a step back and look at the overall picture, the big result, and how's it you can improve. Okay, that's super important. The other things are like weekly reviews, like doing reviews every week and not missing one. I found if I miss a review 1 week, my trading is not good for the week, and not just in terms of like profit, but I tend to like miss a lot of trades, and that's not good at all for sure. So those are like the psychology thing, and then there's a lot more of course, but the other things, the trading that are more, I would say more technical. You need to learn like it's not hard. You need to learn the market principles, like what's a breakout, what's a trading market, what's a sideways market, then how to trade those things. Okay, and if you learn that, like that's the thing that for me I like the most because I was like, oh, I'll just trade like a setup, and my setup is like I can actually with I can actually with the moving average or whatever. But then so that's good. But this is what my coach helped me the most with is I didn't understand where I was taking that trade. What was the context in that trade? So I just took that like every single day. I was losing money all the time because I didn't understand what's the context, what's the overall picture of things, and how the market behaves. And if you just add that to your trade, like your normal setup, your result will be much better, and you'll make a lot more money probably. So the context is super important, and then all the other things like the setup. But this you can learn easily. You can find ideas. You listen to a podcast like mine, you'll find ideas for trades easily. That's not hard. So the hard part is coming in with the right mindset and understanding the market overall. Okay, that's the biggest thing. So that answers your question, Antoine. Perfect. Let me see a few more questions. What are the best confirmations to look when trading reversals on the lower time frames? Okay, so trading reversals. Well, we talk about this a little bit here. Just gonna share my screen again. Okay, so these like this part here. Well, like this is kind of like confirmation too, if you want to think about it, or confluence. This is definitely like confluence or confirmation. This is thing. So okay, we talk about a few. We talk about the fact that you have the entering beyond the high or beyond the low. That's a good one. We talk about looking at trades that are like within the range, not beyond the range. That could be a good one too. Although that varies. This one I'm not sure because I don't use it and it didn't work out to be good for me. We talk about not trading some days of the week, only trading some hours, especially in like lower time frame. You want to like check your hours because like for example, I trade a daily chart or the 30-minute chart on my strategy as a test, and the 30-minute chart it works really well some hours and really badly some hours. So I can filter this and only trade like a few hours in a day, and my result will be much better. That's a good confirmation. So what if you like trade reversals in a market that doesn't reverse? Like you trade reversals in the London session, or it's likely to trend and not reverse. That's something you think about. So that's the session you might want to cut. Or what if you trade reversals in the Tokyo session, where the market is like choppy and you get stopped out all the time? Not good either. So you want to cut that, and that's super important. So those are the big ones. And then the other one that I used in the past is you can look at basically it's a little more complex, but you can look at like mini breakouts. So what this means is like let's just try to clear that out. Okay, so what this means basically these mini breakouts is that let's say you have a sideways market, and then you have this going on here, price goes back, It's just like really simplified because it doesn't do that in general. But let's say you want to trade this reversal here. So what you can do is this is like a higher time frame, right? So you always use a bigger time frame to look at your trade. That's another one that's really important. But basically, I look at the market phase here. I look at this in a higher time frame. It's probably like a daily chart, weekly chart, ideally. But depending on what time frame you trade, if you trade like a 15-minute chart, maybe look at it like on a 4 hour or 1 hour chart. So you want to trade this on like a daily chart. Now what you can do is you can take this, you can go on the lower time frame. So let's say this is like a daily chart. You go on a 1 hour chart or maybe 30-minute chart. That will work fine. So on the 1 hour chart, basically you have this. It's your resistance, it's your support. And what price will do is price will go, and we'll just take this one here. Okay, so just this level here. Price will go back down. It's going to be choppy and everything around, which is fine. And then what price will do is it will come to this level. It will do like a small consolidation. Then it's gonna go. Then it's gonna do a breakout. So this is like, so there's two ways you can go about things here. Either you choose this as a breakout, like trade the breakout here, which is really strong, or what you can do is you can trade both the reversal and the breakout. So you look for a reversal here with your Bollinger Band or something at the bottom, and then your breakout you can add to your trade, add to your position. Or if you're more like risk averse, you take half the trade at your Bollinger Band, and then half the trade at your breakout, and then you have like a good trade. You have like more adding to your positions, but with lower risk. So that works really well. I found that this like has a really good win rate, and this tends to work out really well. And I think like if you don't have the breakout, you'll probably like be going back here, and it's gonna break down. Then you can also trade that if it breaks down. So you have two ways to kind of trade that, and it's easier than trading the reversal, because the reversal you only have one way. You can only go and buy if it's like in this case. You cannot sell. So something to think about that works really well is this, okay, the kind of mini breakout on the lower time frame. So of course it's many, but it depends like what's your strategy, what's your style exactly, and what indicators you use for your strategy too. So let's go back on the chat. Okay. And Mo says, is it necessary to trade more than one trading pair, or is it okay to stick to one trading pair if that's all you need? It's funny because I talked about this yesterday with one of my students. Basically, so you need to think about like a doctor, right? And that's the example I gave to my student yesterday. So think about the doctor. What if you have a doctor that says that he does surgery on brain, he does surgery on the heart, and does surgery on like the knees? Are you gonna trust the doctor? Well, probably not, right? Because he does like many different things, and that's the problem. Now, what doctors do is they specialize in like two different parts, and I'm not sure about it. Like I'm not in the like surgery department, but that's my guess. So the doctors specialize in like two different things. They can specialize two different ways. Either one is they become a specialist at the brain. They do all the surgery for the brain. They do like different things for the brain. They remove tumor. They do this. They do that. And that's one aspect. The other aspect is that these doctors, they become specialists into like one kind of surgery. Like for example, I don't know, I have no idea, but they do like this one surgery on like many different parts of the body. They can do it on the knee. They can do it on the arm. They can do it on whatever. Okay, and so that's the thing. So you need to kind of focus in two different ways, and you decide. Either you pick like one pair, you focus on that trade, like different strategies, so like different surgeries on that pair, or you go with basically multiple pairs, like multiple places, and then you trade that one setup on that pair, on these pairs, on these multiple pairs. So it's up to you. Some people prefer one pair trading different things, and some people prefer multiple pair trading one thing. You just have to go with whatever you prefer. And then that's totally fun. So the question was like when trading with algorithms. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. So keep in mind you need one algorithm for every strategy, right? Or you can have like one that includes many things, but it's more complicated. So I would prefer in that case just using multiple pairs and one strategy. I think it's better. Simply because you can like customize your algo and then you have only one strategy you have to work on. So it's easier to work on. Then you trade it on different pairs and see which one is profitable or not. And then you cut the ones that are not profitable. You can also backtest, of course, and you find out what's profitable and what's not. And that works fine. Okay. What advice would you say for mindset? I think we covered that for now. Um, how long does your average trade last for? Depends on the time frame. I trade the 1 hour chart, the 4 hour chart, and then I test the 30-minute chart. So 1 hour chart is about like the first take profit should be hit in like about 3 hours maximum, 3 to 4 hours. Then the other one, the second take profit, should be hit in about 8 hours to I guess 24 hours, something. Okay, unless it goes like really choppy. And then the second take profit, so the 4 hour chart, again, it's like 12 hours for the first take profit and 3 or 4 days for the second take profit. The first one is you look at only the daily chart. Okay, cool. Roughly how many pairs you focus on? Jeff asked. I focus on, let me count them. Actually, let's share the screen so you guys see them. It's gonna be easier. So these pairs on the right, these are all the pairs. Actually, not all the pairs that I trade, but some of the pairs that I trade. So I trade these ones: AUD-CAD, AUD-GPY, AUD-NZD, AUD-USD. I trade that. CAD-CHF, Euro-AUD. I trade that. Euro-CAD. I trade that. Euro-GBP. I trade that too. Euro-USD. I trade it, but not so. I trade with the lower lot size because it's not profitable. So the result of my algo in the past 6 months or so was that this is not profitable. This pair like works really badly. So I stopped trading it. But what I do is I want to keep the stats of the metrics of this pair. So I trade it with the 0.01 lot size, like the smallest lot size. I just keep track of like the data, and that's like on the same account, so I can know that. And my trades when they are taken in USD, they're automatically tagged to a specific like tag. So I know it's like not a real trade; it's like a trade to keep the stats. So I don't really look at that. But if the stats improve, I'll get back to trading it. That USD pair. Same thing with JP JPY. I don't trade it like with profitably, so it's not a good pair, but I keep it with a small position size. JP JPY. GP can, I'll trade that. NZD trade that. USD trade that too. NZD can trade it. S&P no, I don't trade it. Just like to look at and to get the picture of the market overall. USD can I trade that. USD want to trade that. USD NOK no. Just because I want to observe this and have an idea of what happens. And USD HUD I trade that. And gold I don't really trade that. Also to look at in the market. So those are pretty much the one I look at. So the one that I trade profitably like live, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15. So 15 pairs. That's about right. 16 actually. So yeah. And over time, as pairs become profitable, I trade them more. As they become less profitable, I trade them less. Basically, that's how things go here. Okay. Omar asks, how do you build your risk management skills? Well, it's easy, right? You don't risk much per trade. You just risk less per trade. But no, honestly, um, what I did is I surrounded myself with people that work in that in risk management, and I just apply what they say. So I work a lot with Michael Thama, and Michael is part of our academy, and he taught me a lot about risk management, and not just like the risk per trade, but also the other factors around, like the other risks in trading you need to think about. If you want to read a good book on that, read his books. His book called The Risk of Trading. I read that too. It's super good, and that allows you to kind of see a bigger view of what risk management is in trading. So super useful. And if you learn that, then that's easy. Okay, and you can apply this in your trading after. But also, if you want to get our help in the academy, I'll put a link below for that in the description. Already there actually, and you can click that, get the case study. It's like a video where we teach you some things. Then you can also apply, and we'll do a call with you if you're a good fit, and then you can join our academy after that. Okay. So that's how things work. Avish says, "What are the daily habits to improve your own trading skills?" Yeah, I like this one. So daily habits. So first one is, well, like there's a bunch of them. So if you want to improve, it kind of depends. I think meditation is a really good one. I'm working like now on a program where I like, practice my breathing and stuff. It makes a big difference on how calm you are and stuff, and how you show up in the market. So that could be one, like breathing exercise or meditation. And the second one is your review. Review is really good to kind of look at the market. And even if you don't trade, I think you should review the market every day. Even if you don't trade anything, just to kind of get a better grasp of how price behaves in the market. So review all the pairs you trade every day. That's a good one. The third one I would say is um like you can do this if you want, and this helped me a lot in the past. Have a journal of ideas. So what I used to do myself is like every single day, because I didn't have many ideas before. So what I did, like for different things, for videos, for guest interviews, for trading, for anything. So what I did before is I had this journal, and every day at night or in the morning or whatever you prefer, you write down three ideas you have for whatever. Okay, if you want to look for strategy ideas, you write down three strategy ideas, knowing that most of them you won't ever use. It's just like it's a waste of time, but it builds your skill of finding out ideas and finding things that you can trade. So you want to do that like ideally every day. Write down three ideas for whatever you want to improve, and then at the end of like the week or the month, pick one and apply it. Okay, pick like the best one and apply it. So that's super useful. A journal of ideas. The other thing I can do to improve your trading on a daily basis is to review what you do. Like just do a review of yourself. What do you have trouble with? What do you fail at? Or like every day, what did you have problem with today? So what went well? What didn't go well? How can you improve? And if you do that like every day, you'll find things every day to work on, and you'll be able to go much ahead. So that's pretty much it. These are things that help you a lot. That help me a lot in my day to day. But then you have to find your routines too, of course, and what you prefer. TextMax says trading is a mind game, of course. Okay, awesome. Thank you for the comments. I appreciate. Okay. Do you think that combining swing trading and other things could be better than trading only one style? I think it can be. I think it's good because you kind of fill the gaps of your swing trading with other things like day trading or some things, and that's good. So, yeah, you can definitely do that. The only thing is like you need some time to do that. So you cannot start with like trading all the kind of type of trades like day trading, swing trading, everything. Position trading at the beginning, you need to add this over time. So over time, you will add more things, and you'll be able to trade better. So I would say start with like the one you prefer, and then you can add the other one later, of course. Have you ever changed or added something to your trading after interviewing very big and profitable traders for your videos? Yeah, of course. Especially in the beginning, and even now, sometimes like these are like small tweaks. But yeah, I did a lot. For example, one I did recently is when I interviewed Nick Benzino, and that's not long, that's like a few weeks ago, and he said something about having his journal of like keeping a journal of things that happen in the market, especially now with the crash and the big thing we're facing. The market is different. The market is really different. So you want to keep a journal of things that happen in the market. What you notice, and then you note things down every day. So I did that. I applied this. I have the journal that I took since a few weeks, and it works out pretty well. I have these thoughts, which I'll review later. But that's super useful. So these are like a small tweak I've made over time. Another one in the beginning was printing out your trade. So I learned from um, I forget his name, Paul Wallace. I learned from him that it's a good thing to print your trades on paper and review them if you want to have like if you want to overcome a drawdown. So I learned this from him. I tried this. I print out all my trades, review all of them on paper, and I found out what mistakes I made. I improved those, and then I recovered from my drawdown. So that's the thing you want to do. Like, it's not like big things, but it's like these small tweaks you can make that will help you become better over time. So yeah, I did a few times. I changed my trading or things I do, my habits, because of these interviews, of course. How long did it take you to become a profitable trader? I think we answered that before, but basically, the thing is like it doesn't take long, but people waste a lot of time. So if you begin, like for me, I began trading in like 2013, and from 13 to 15, I didn't do much. I was trading every day. I was like looking at the market every day. But the time that the thing that I improved were like really low. I didn't improve anything. I just like did what I thought was right, and I thought I could do it myself. And that's time that you waste pretty much. So I didn't want to. So I had to kind of find a way to work smarter and get a coach and work hard on my trading, like work on the right things, and that's how I became profitable. So if you count like all the time I spent, 2013 to 2016 actually or 16, that's like at least 2 3 years and a half or 3 years. That's what it took me to become profitable. Okay, but I had this one year where I worked like really hard. I did pretty much just that. So it depends. But if you take the time I went from struggling to profitable, so that took only like a year or something. That was really fast. But it's because I spent the time focusing on the right things, and I stopped wasting time on different like maybe like reading online for strategies, or talking to new traders, or reading like books that don't do anything for helping my trading. These are all things that we waste time on. So if you stop doing that, then and if you spend time on the right things, your result will improve, for sure. So that's pretty much what I did. Mm, how much capital tax do you pay? If you take out the percent, I don't know. I have someone doing my taxes every year, and that's super helpful because I don't have to spend time doing it. So it really helps. Um, but then it varies. Like this year, I registered in Hong Kong, so my tax rate is different. It's gonna be different for this year than it was last year. So it varies. Um, okay, cool. What do you do to always dis- uh, What do you do to distract yourself from always thinking about trading and finding setups? Well, that's easy. So you have to keep yourself really busy. I'm really busy. I have like different things going on. I have a business. I have my trading. I want to go out to do physical exercise, to see things. I want to travel. Those are all things that like I need to kind of like jiggle with and find ways to make work. So I cannot spend like 2 hours in front of the chart. It's impossible. I cannot do that. So that's what I do to overcome this idea of like finding stuff all the time. And if you just like do it long enough, uh, eventually you want to like go out and do fun stuff and travel and things. So for me, it's not hard, but it was hard in the beginning, of course. I had to find like other things I like a lot more than trading, or I like at the same level than trading, and then I just do those, and it's easier. Meditate is a good thing too, of course, but you need to do it in like the right circumstances. So, for example, if I meditate in the morning, I'm just gonna do it. It's too hard. I want to get to work. I want to like do things, and it's really hard. But if I meditate after like an exercise, after like I go out and walk really fast, or do jogging or whatever, it's easier. So that's what I've done now. Now I meditate just like in the afternoon, and sometimes in the evening too. So those are good things. Um, can you elaborate more on what you mean by using systems in your life? That's a good question. That's a really good question. Okay, so that's super good. I really like that. This is a topic that I'm passionate about since like few weeks, since the past like few weeks, and it really makes a big difference. So think about all the companies, right? They have systems for everything they do. Like go to McDonald's, which I never go to, but they have a system for create like making their burgers, and that's the way they do this is because they want to get like predictable result. They know that if you put this and that, this much sauce, this much like meat and everything, you'll get the same result, right? So that's why they have a system. Now, what you can do is you can have systems for your daily life, so that you always get the same result. You always get the same focus, the same energy, if you follow these systems. And of course, you don't want to make like your whole life only a system because that's boring. But the part where you have to be like showing up top notch and doing things, that can be systemized, and that can be a way where you do your best work and then you just go have fun. So for me, that's what I do. Like for example, all my mornings are pretty much all systemized. I know what to do in like which order to get the best result. So I know like if I wake up and watch TV and then try to go to work, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to do. Sometimes different, but whatever. And then I know that if I wake up in the morning, then I eat breakfast, like a healthy breakfast. Then I like listen to a growth content, like growth audiobook or something, or I read a book, or I watch like a good YouTube video about something that I want to improve. Then I know that I'll be more likely to go to work. Or if I listen to a podcast about something that I want to do, I'll be more likely to get to work easily. Then I get to work and I work on that for an hour, then take a break, then I do this. And the tasks you do in what order make a big difference. For example, think about what happens if you um, what if you need to record a video after you exercise, and like let's say you go out here and like it's super hot, then like you're sweating as hell, then you have to go back and record a video, right? It's not gonna work because like you're sweating and stuff. You have to kind of do something before that to be able to go and record your videos properly. Or what about if you like want to trade, but then before that you were I don't know, like you were eating like junk food. Right? It doesn't work. You cannot like show up and trade properly. Or what if you try to trade the market, but then before that you were like learning about so something like random, something different. Like you were learning about food, like you were reading a book about food before you go to trade. It's not the right fit. It doesn't really work. It doesn't add up well. So your system is gonna fail. And maybe like you take a bad trade, or maybe you want to do something different. You're like tired of trading. You want to jump to something else because you were not in the right mindset for this. You were not like in the right. You didn't take the right steps to get to that point. And so that's something that really makes a big difference. If you have systems for yourself, for your daily life, you're able to kind of focus on what works, and then you just do that all the time, and your result will be fairly similar. So that goes like what time you go to sleep, what time you wake up, what you do when you wake up, what you do after the series of activities. And if you kind of find a way to tweak and fix that, then your daily life is gonna be much better, and your result will be better. So for example, now on most days, I just wake up, I do the things I have to do, I follow my process. Then at noon, I'm done working, and I'm done for the day. I might have a few calls and things on the side after that, but usually I'm pretty much done by noon. Okay, because I've created my system, and I tweak my system, and my system works. So that makes a really big difference. I'll go to Antoine. Antoine says, "What are your thoughts on trading using the market maker method?" I've never used that before. I don't know what that is, but that sounds like a fairly good name. So I'll have to know the details of that for sure. You can let me know, of course, if you have the details of that method. I'm curious. What do you typically set alerts for in TradingView? Support resistance? Yeah, usually yeah, support resistance areas. Especially if I want to trade breakouts, which I do now manually, or trends, I put these alerts for support and resistance areas. Or you can also put alerts, which is nice for like for some kind of pattern. For example, the engulfing pattern, I created a script for that, like an indicator there, and I use alert for that on TradingView. So if there's an engulfing candle, I'll get an alert, which is pretty cool. What's a good amount of pip to make a day as a beginner? I don't know. It depends on your strategy. If you day trade, it's gonna be different than if you swing trade. Uh, what mindset? Yeah, Okay. So I guess the question here by Ivan is, what if you go full time and then it doesn't do well in the long term? You have to go back to or whatever. What if it doesn't do well in the long term? And that's why I really believe in the fact that it's not something I did myself, but if you want to go full time, make sure you have other incomes that can that can support your monthly expenses, so that if trading fails for whatever reason, or if you have like a few months where things don't go well, at least you have other things to support you. Because if you only have trading, then it's really hard. And if you have a bad month, first of all, you have the pressure of performing well, which is not good because you'll make mistakes. Second of all, you have to perform every month. If you don't perform 1 month, you have nothing to pay for your expenses, and that's an issue. So that's something you want to look at, right? So um, I think it's good to have a plan where if things fail, what to do, right? You can also go to like a lower income countries if you want. Go to a country where expenses are lower if you want, but it's really something you have to think about first. You need to make a plan if it fails, then make sure you have other incomes on the side that help you work on that. Like the best people I've seen that go full time is people that they have a business that makes some money, then they go trading full time. But if they fail or if they have a few bad months, they have the business to kind of make money on, and that's good. But if you don't, just make sure you find other incomes. Could be a stock market, could be some investment, it could be any business you start. That's fine, but you'll be more secure, and then you're sure that when you quit your job, you don't have to go back to any job after. So that makes a big difference. Do we have to use a journal to be successful trader? Yeah, I think so for sure. What's the percent? What percent a month is good for a trader? It depends. Again, what time frame, what setup you take, but between 5 and 10% a month, it's good, really good. Even below that, it's still fine. Do you trade in USD? Also, what broker you use? I said that before, so I use Pepperstone, XTrader, and Wanda, and I trade in CAD at the moment. Maybe USD would be smarter. I don't know. I'm currently backtesting, but I found out that data from MT4 is so bad, so many missing, and uh, yeah, not good data for sure. So any suggestion on that? Um, if you're backtesting with the script, I know Alejandro is using who I'm working with is using a different data, so I'm not sure if it's still here. He can maybe send you the link for that. If not, you can send us an email and we'll send you the data we use. I'm just not sure of the name now, so it's better if you send us an email and we'll be able to give you that data. If not, then I mean, if you backtest manually, I'm pretty sure there's some data you can use too. I think software effects, actually, yeah, software effects is really good for that data. So I've seen a big difference where I use that. It's a plugin called Software Effects. I've done videos on that in the past, and that's where you get like it's a software to backtest on MT4 like a plugin, but the data you get with this is much better, much more clear, and you get a lot more data. So something you can look at, of course. And Moss says, what are the most important optimization variable to optimize your system, your trading system? It depends. It's many things. It could be like the pairs of your indicators, like what is like 20, 50, or whatever. It could be the. It really depends on like your things you have in your strategy, of course. But for us, for example, with the Bollinger Band reversal, the strategy I have, we can optimize for the pairs of the Bollinger Band, the parameters for that. We can optimize for different take profits. Is it better at like 1-to-1 or 3-to-1 or 5-to-1 or whatever? We can optimize that. We can optimize how much risk to put to every trade, like every. So we have like 2 take profits, right, for every trade. How much risk do we put to each one? We can optimize that. I can optimize how many candlesticks after expiry. So like when we enter a trade, we enter below the low, for example. But how many candlesticks after that do you keep the trade open? So we can optimize that. If it's like 1 candlestick, 5 candlestick, we can check that out. There's many things you can optimize. It never stops, but you don't want to over optimize, of course, like we talked about before. That's more important. and I'll just counted here the data provider. So it's called Tick Data Suite. Awesome. And I think it can be used for also manual backtesting, right? Not sure. Okay. How has COVID affected your job and trading? Yeah, a little bit. I talked about this before a little bit, but the strategies I trade are a little bit different. The reversals don't work as well for me, I feel. So I trade a little bit more different things. I trade trends a little bit more. And the other thing is like not going out is a bit tougher in the mindset. So you have to be able to kind of discipline yourself a little bit more and find ways to make it work anyway. So that's pretty much it. But I've been able to adapt my daily routines a little bit more. And yeah, that's about it. Not a big deal, but a little bit. How do you stay focused while traveling? Stay focused on what? I don't know. Maybe on work, I guess. Well, that's where when you get to work while traveling, you need to have a routine that sets you up for success in work. So again, if you with friends that just want to party, then you're not gonna work. That's really hard to work unless you have a routine, a system where that's helping you focus on work. What I like to do myself is to have this speaker, or it doesn't matter, just a computer, anything is fine, where I listen to like things that motivate me to work, and so these can be like coaches, whether you record before, speakers, anything, and you can listen to that, and then you're in a better mindset for work after that. So that's super useful. The thing is like music focused. You also listen to music to work. That helps you stay focused. But it depends. Find a good place to work. Like find your whenever I get to like a new city that I don't really know, I need to find a place where I'll get work there. So that's usually like a coffee shop, or maybe like an hotel lobby, or maybe the hotel room. It depends. But it needs to be a place where they have good Wi-Fi, they have air conditioning, because otherwise they cannot work, and they have like a place that's inviting to work. So, for example, before like I used to work in um I'll give you an example. So they have these kind of like bakeries in China. They call 85 degrees, and I used to work there because it's the only place I could find to work where they have tables and Wi-Fi. But the issue with that is that the people there are like screaming all the time. It's like noisy. It smells like bakery. It's not good to work. It's really bad to work. So I couldn't get work there. It was like really hard. So the other place I worked before is I used to work in like 7-Eleven in Taiwan. So they have like pretty good 7-Eleven. They have tables and everything. You can sit there and do things and drink coffee. But it's just like the environment there is not good to work. You're around people. You're around like a convenience store. It's just not good. Or I used to work in like McDonald's. It's not good at all because you have people screaming. You have kids running around. It's not good. So you need to find the right place to work. And for me, that's a lot of the time. Like your hotel lobbies work really well because like you're in a good mindset. You're around some luxuries. It's good, really good to work, and it's usually quite calm. Or any coffee shop that is good to work. You need to find this for yourself in every city. And then if you have that place, just go there every day, and you can find more places over time. Of course, like you can find a new coffee shop or a new place, and you can try it out some days. But at least you have your backup, your one place where you know it's gonna work. So that's really good. Um, what time is the best to for traders to wake up in Canada? It depends what time zone you're in. Like, are you in Pacific time or Eastern time or whatever? And then you need to get enough sleep. I think it's better to wake up a little bit more late, but get the right amount of sleep, than wake up early and be like stressed out and pissed off all day. So I used to believe in like waking up at 5 a.m. every day, and that worked until it doesn't. So I used to be like really like sleepy and stuff, and not producing much result. So I had to kind of focus more on sleep to be able to be better and get the result. Okay, awesome. So guys, a little question here that I think I'll keep and I'll answer for like a different video because we've been already wow, like an hour in more. So I think I'll keep these ones. I'll try to like copy them somewhere. I'm actually gonna send them like a different video when we do the next Q&A. I'm gonna go back here in like a few days and I'll take your question and answer them because there's a lot here and I'm happy that you guys have a lot of questions. That's really good. And I'll try to get this and give you a proper answer. Okay. So I hope you guys like this video today. I hope that was useful. I've leave a link below in the description for you to join the academy if you want. Apply for it. So you get a free video where I teach you some things, and then you can join the academy. Apply for this academy, and we'll get in the call with you if it's a good fit. And if you want to join us and work with us, you can work with us for sure after that. So link below for that. And if you have any questions, make sure you come up with them in the chat now or in any video I have. And in a few days, I'll be able to answer your questions in a different video. Okay? So thank you guys for being here once again. I appreciate you a lot for being here on these lives. And I'll catch you back here pretty soon. Ciao.